Lisa and Ron, thank you for jumping on. Appreciate you guys being here. First off, allow yourselves to give yourselves, good one, Brett, a brief introduction and just what you're doing during this craziness. So, ladies first, Lisa.
How the turntables have turned.
Yes, exactly. Still early here.
Yeah, no, it's good. So I'm Lisa Mitchell. I am a communications expert. I specialize in body language, influence, social authority, anything that helps make it easier to get people to do what you need them to do and to be likable while you're doing it. So I do corporate training, executive coaching, sales training, speaking when there were events. That's where I was at most of the time, was speaking at events. But I do media. I just like people to feel good about how they're showing up in a room and understand what's happening on the other side of their face. So that's what I build my business around.
And what have you been up to for the last couple of weeks?
Well, learning how to co-work with a teenager has been a big priority. So I've worked from home since 2006 for the most part. So this is business as usual for me, minus not having to travel all the time. But having a teenager home, also learning how to e-learn for the first time, and dealing with those adjustments. Our desks are literally side by side. Our office is also our gym. So figuring out how to schedule and on the home front, keep that calm enough that I can still engage with my clients. It's been a fun way to reinvent work, flipping live events to online events and Zoom calls and checking in on my clients, just lots of conversation, whether it's Zoom or phone calls or emails. Just being a good human right now is kind of priority one. I really care about the people I do work with. And so checking in with them and seeing how I can be a resource, even if it's outside of kind of my normal official capacity, and just trying to stay feeling productive and useful and, a good resource for my clients has been my priority right now.
That's great. I think redefining our roles is something that's, for especially those of us that are entrepreneurs, are something that is critical in the moment. Otherwise, we'll just be left in the dust. Ron?
Exactly.
So the last few weeks, everything's based around kind of 4 pillars. It's for me, it's been leadership, sales, marketing, and culture. And, from the culture side, I'm lucky enough to have a large staff here in the Rio Grande Valley. So our human resources department has been reaching out to a lot of employees that have had reduced hours, some no more hours anymore, doing wellness checks on them, letting them know the resources that are available from the state of Texas. Obviously, there's federal stimulus checks coming soon as well. From a leadership perspective, just making sure all of our directors are working like it's normal, even though most of them are at home. So we have twice daily Zoom meetings like we're all having right now. So 9 a.m. we all get together, 5 p.m. we get together again. The morning meeting is the BAM 1, 2, 3 things I'm working on today. And the 5 p.m. is these were the 3 things I got done today. So there's a daily accountability morning and evening. It seems redundant, it seems repetitive, but it's good because it's not necessarily the content always that comes out of it. It's the fact that they know that they have to present to the group and look everybody in the eye and say, this is what we're doing. From a marketing perspective, we've tried to get super creative. Our marketing team has done incredible. We're doing rewatch party of soccer games, tying in local restaurants. It's like a VH1. Remember the old VH1 pop-up videos? I don't know, Lisa, you look very young, so you might not remember this, but my staff.
No, I was a big
pop-up video. Was incredible.
So our rewatch parties are on Twitch. Which people my age don't know what that is, but I figured it out. And so there'll be little pop-ups during the game, and there'll be a video from our coach talking about how he prepped for this game, and then there'll be a video from a player talking about how they got in, how the setup for the goal came through. So it's very interactive. The one we're doing this weekend is going to be Oklahoma City. Tylee, our COO, knows their head coach. We're going to try to get some banter going back and forth with them. They've got some really cool things. Train Like a Toro, which is a 30-day workout program that we're doing online. A player is filming their workout. So we're trying different creative things. And on the sales side, we did launch our first online merchandise store. I've been here about 2 months. And one of the things I recognize right away is why aren't we selling merchandise online? So our merchandise director started working on that. We got that up. We're doing a tie-in to a local charity called Amigos del Valle. So 10% of all of our sales through the online merch store go right to them. They're taking care of seniors here in the Valley and making sure that they're getting food, getting supplies when it's too dangerous to go out. Working on a festival kind of an event when we come back from this stuff. But that's for another conversation. So, but yeah, 2 months on the job here. And what I've been doing to stay busy is trying to get my people to have the daily accountability, but then also be entrepreneurial and come up with different types of projects, whether it's real or mock. We're talking about doing some mock game day projects where we're pretending that this weekend's rewatch party is an actual in-person game to keep the staff sharp.
So that's a great transition. Part of the reason I wanted both of you on is you both have entrepreneurial backgrounds or are entrepreneurs. And so we talked a little bit before, this is a really critical time for a sports business salesperson to think of themselves entrepreneurially. We try to teach them that regularly, but they are literally on their own as a franchisee, locked in their house as a business here. So Lisa, can you talk really quickly, like from your experience as an entrepreneur, what are some really critical things that a rep can think about or implement or stuff that you've seen that's successful?
Yeah, I think structure is huge. I love the fact, Ron, that your team is getting in front of each other twice a day, having that routine. I think one of the challenges that a lot of my clients are having right now, having their team go work from home and being a little more isolated, is just it's not necessarily going to be an exact replica of what your day in the office looked like or your day out with clients look like, right? So to think I'm going to sit down at 8 o'clock and I'm going to hammer down on my computer until 5 o'clock nonstop, it's not realistic because the environment has shifted. You think about how many distractions and unofficial breaks you have, energy that you're getting from interacting with other people in the office environment that now is just gone, and then inject family or kids or all the things that are now in your environment, right? You have to allow yourself the grace to reinvent your schedule. And for me, I do kind of a chunking or a blocking type of productivity schedule, because for me, I know when I'm really effective and I know when I'm going to hit a wall. And so for me, I'm just very realistic about that. I can crank for 2.5 hours on content and client contact and outreach and proposals. And then I know I'm going to hit a wall. I have to build in a break where I physically get up and move and shift that energy and kind of reinvigorate myself independently instead of relying on coworkers or managers or somebody else to do that for me. And then I know I'm going to have that other dedicated time where I'm really going to hammer down and be productive. So just giving yourself permission to figure out, how does my energy work? What works for me throughout my day? When am I most productive? Because just sitting in front of your computer doesn't count. Yeah. Right? This is not an attendance situation. And a lot of people play that game. When I first went work from home, I was like 8 to 5 attendance. I was online, I was available, but I wasn't doing anything. This is not a time to check the box, especially as a sales rep, right? You need to really figure out, how can I be actually productive, reaching out to clients, doing my work, making my contacts, being productive. And then be okay, not feel guilty when I take that half-hour break to get up and move or re-energize or whatever I need to do. Because sitting in front of your computer but not being productive, you're not helping anyone. Well, so be realistic about your structure.
I think that's awesome, because I think what's really important for reps to try to remember here is, if you're going to try to lock in from 9 to 5, you're not doing that anyway in a work environment. You are checking LinkedIn during the day. You are checking Facebook during the day. You are checking Twitter during the day. You're going to lunch for an hour. And so we see a lot of reps who are just trying to strap in and get going, and it's causing more anxiousness and anxiety because they're now trying to get 8 hours, where before, if you talk about all the social stuff they're doing between their interactions with their peers and their lunch and being on social platforms, you really are talking about reps who are really doing 5 hours of work in a given day anyway. And so they shouldn't be trying to do more than what they've been doing anyway, 5-6 hours, spreading them out across the course of the day, going for a run in the middle of the day, to your point, I think making sure they understand where their energy is and how they can maximize those pockets of energy.
Yeah, it can feel really unsettling and unbalancing, you can feel like you're not doing enough, mm-hmm. or that you're failing at the end of your day, but it's just being realistic. If you're going to be on LinkedIn prospecting for an hour, just put it on your calendar and do that during one of your lower energy times. Maybe that's not the best time for you to be on a Zoom call, or the best time for you to be on the phone, or trying to craft clever, creative, engaging emails. Maybe it's just straight outreach and straight prospecting. And that's, something you can do with more of a templated flow that's more just like like process driven, not so much creative. It's just giving yourself the time to feel out how you work really well, and then being realistic about how you block your day. But you still got to block your day. You still need the accountability to show up, or you can wander off for hours. Speaking from experience on that.
John?
Yeah, I think being an entrepreneur doesn't mean you have to have created a product. Doesn't mean that you'd have to have started your own business. It's more of a mindset.
Right.
And there is entrepreneurial mindset training out there that I've seen some companies give to their employees. I've even seen city governments. When I lived in Albuquerque, they were very, very pro entrepreneurial mindset. They gave a couple hundred city employees entrepreneurial mindset training classes, which was really cool. So wherever you are in the country, if there is entrepreneurial mindset training, and now's a good time to go get free content on the internet too. I would pursue it if I were you. What I mean by that is it's whether or not you've been in a business before. I think the mindset every day has to be, what am I doing to move my business forward today? And in a time like this, it's not the hard sell where you're calling people 5 times trying to get them to buy something, but it's a feeling them out, showing a genuine, creating a genuine connection with them, which you should be doing already. And then feeling them out on what their situation is. Everyone's got a different situation. There are people buying things right now. So don't think for a second people aren't buying just because of COVID-19. There are some people that are affected more than others. And there are some folks that say, all right, I'm going to keep operating as usual. But I think, I've heard some hacks out there too on other podcasts and other Zoom meetings that I'll share too, that creating a space for yourself. So when you go into that space, that is your workspace, and you tell the kids, don't bother me, I'm here, I'm at work. I heard one yesterday. Jason Klein from Brandios shared this one with me. He was saying that he heard one that people will actually go for a 5-minute walk to kind of recreate the commute to work. So they go for a 5-minute walk, come in and sit in their office and start doing their work. And then at the end of the day, they're doing another 5-minute walk, and that's their commute back from work. So I thought that was a neat one. Sorry
to cut you off, but that's actually been a really good one for me, because when I'm home, I walk the kids to school at 8 o'clock, and then I finish walking my dog, and I'm home by 8:30, and then I've got to pick the kids up. I got to be at the school at 3:30, so I got to leave the house at 3. From a walking standpoint. And that's been really great for me, because I know between 8:30 and 3, that is when I'm home, I'm locked in, I'll take my hour for lunch, but then I've got the space around that to be able to work. But those are my 6 hours where I'm really, truly, genuinely plugged in a lot of ways. So I think it's great. Sorry for cutting you off, but that one resonated.
It's true for those listening, because I've called you, Brett, during these walks in the morning and the afternoon too. You're like, I'm on my walk. I'm like, all right, he's on a walk. But no, I think I said it all there. It's the mindset, and it's what am I doing to push my business forward today? Everyone operates a little differently. So I'm a list guy. So I'll create my list at the beginning of the week, and then each day I'll create my list. And what am I doing to move this item forward? And to use a sports example, I always say, like, what are we doing to be offensive? If we're just playing defense all week, how are we going to move anything forward? So what can I do offensive minded to move the offense and push towards whatever sport that may be? A basket, a goal, a touchdown, whatever.
So knowing that you guys are both selling, and maybe start with Ron on this one, because you've had the entrepreneurial background, and then you've turned directly into the sports side. But Lisa, I know you've been around sports now for at least probably like close to a year now, fully, maybe even a little more. I would wonder, what are the types of organizations and businesses that you think are really open for business right now? That I know, Ron, you touched on that a little bit, but what are some of those opportunities, whether it's from a sponsorship standpoint or a ticket sales standpoint, that you think are good conversations to be having right now?
So, sorry, was the question to Lisa or to myself? I apologize.
Start with you, and then we'll go to Lisa.
Okay, and repeat the question one more time. I thought you were asking her a question. I zoned out.
Good. So what are the types of businesses that we should be reaching out to right now? If you knowing your entrepreneurial background and your ticket sales understanding now, if I'm sitting in that seat, what are the types of businesses that I'm reaching out to right now?
Let me kind of rephrase the question for you. I'm going to be a little cheeky here and say that there's no businesses we're reaching out to. We reach out to people, and there are people that represent those businesses. So I'd ask people to look at it that way. Yes, we're going to reach out to this type of business, but people do business with people, not with businesses. So though we represent a business, we're talking to people. And if we treat every conversation like that, we can be successful. I think there are, you've got those contacts probably in your pipeline that are folks that have talked about coming to games before, and maybe they've been a little tougher to get a hold of. And Fred, I might even read this in one of your blog posts. Those people are available now. They're not sitting at their office tied up in meetings. They're at home. They might be doing this and on a Zoom meeting, but those are the people. I don't know if there's any particular industries per se that come to mind that I would say these are the types of industries that I would target, but I would say start with your warm lead list and understand who the people are that you've been trying to get a hold of and you haven't had success. And then in terms of new people, I would say just go by your categories and test a little bit. I mean, when I had my own business for 10 years, I wouldn't just try things once or twice and then get done with them. I'd test this. I'd do 10 of those, see how that worked, then try something. You can sit around and plan all day, but until you actually get in there and try it and really give it a go, you don't know if it's going to work or not.
It's a terrific time for A/B testing on the things that you've wanted to do, the things you've wanted to try out, industries you've wanted to go for. I mean, this is the perfect A/B testing time. Lisa?
Yeah, I think the thing that comes to mind right now are when you think about like the people that you've had conversations with, or maybe people that you've been building relationships with for a while. I would say really, really look at who are your growth mindset people and your growth mindset organizations, right? The innovation, because these people are looking to put a light at the end of the tunnel, right? So it's what is that thing I can do to inspire people or say, hey, like we're going to come through this. And when we do, this is how we're going to celebrate. This is how we're going to reconnect. This is how we're going to create the experiences to bring our teams back together. And those are the people that are going to be looking for, once their hair is not on fire anymore and the new normal has stabilized, and they start realizing how important it is to set those future looking events and relationship building opportunities and just freaking fun, right? Like just getting people back out to have fun again. You can be that solution for those people, right? And say, we're really looking forward to coming out of this. We are coming out of this, right? What type of experience can I help you create for your community or for your organization or for your employees or for your clients? It's going to really just help them celebrate this, right? Like what can we give them to look forward to? And I think people that are really looking for the lessons in this and the opportunities they're going to go there with you. Maybe not today because things are still really like which way's up, but especially in the next 2 or 3 weeks when we just know that this is what life looks like and it could be a minute. How can we celebrate? How can we start planting those seeds of hope and future and fun and lightness again? And what a great opportunity for you representing an organization that is all about experience.
Yeah.
To help vision cast with them and put them in that space and say, how can we inspire your people or elevate your people with us?
That's awesome, because I think what people forget in sports, because we're very insular, is we know that we're going to have to ramp up very quickly when this ends. People forget that businesses are going to have to ramp up very quickly when this ends too. So the conversation I'm having with a lot of people is if you're not on the radar right now, you are not going to be on the radar when that ramps up, because the minute everybody gets back in the office, it's going to be decision.
Yeah.
And they're not going to have time to really sit down with a sales rep and think through a full season suite sale. So if you're not having that dialogue or conversation now, there's just no way that conversation is going to occur probably in the next 12 months, especially as people race towards year ends and, Q1 year ends, like almost no way.
And I
think,
sorry, go ahead, Ron.
I think what it is also is every business I've owned, I've always thought to myself, how do I position my product or service to fit the need that this person has? Yeah. And to your point, like they're going to be ramping up real quickly. What needs are they going to have? Do they need some camaraderie? Do they need folks to come together and to get the team, get the band back together that's part of the office? And so I remember when I had my own food delivery business, like an Uber Eats or a Grubhub for years. And I remember thinking to myself, we just had a food delivery service, but that's not how we sold it. We sold it 10 different ways to 10 different types of companies. We had pharmaceutical reps, which were, legalized drug dealers that were going out to hospitals trying to get doctors to prescribe their drugs. Well, they would buy lunch for the whole office. So we sold our service to them a completely different way than we sold it to the small business owner that wanted to reward everybody on Friday for doing a great job throughout the week. And we sold it differently to the guy that was a financial wholesale rep that was going into Merrill Lynch offices trying to get folks to sell their products over their competitors' products to their financial advising clients. So I use those examples as an analogy to say, in the ticketing world, what is it that the product or the service that you sell, and how does that apply to the company, and what kind of company that is? They might be, they all have different goals. People have different reasons. Brett, you talked about this in your training many times. People have different reasons why they're buying tickets to a sporting event or buying a sponsorship for a sporting event.
You have the right solution to the right person at the right time. It doesn't matter what's going on in this world, pandemic, no pandemic. If you're solving a problem, you get access to lots of money. If you're pitching a product, you are working against an infinitely smaller budget. Lisa?
Yeah, and one of the tips I would say, just to build on that, because that's around the idea of social authority, right? Like how do you figure out what someone's esteem needs is, or significance need? And people get significance from a number of ways. Like maybe they feel really significant or valued because of their education or their leadership position in the company. Maybe they feel really significant when they're doing something great for their community. Maybe they get significance when they're taking amazing care of their family, because their family is their most important thing, right? So I'm a big fan of asking the questions, right? So I also do forensic interviewing, so I can pretty much get anything out of anybody. But from a sales perspective, asking a question like, what's bringing you, like, things are crazy right now. There's so much uncertainty. Like, what's really making you happy right now? Right? Or what in your new routine is it that you're getting energy from? So asking a question like that, people are going to tell you exactly what their significance indicator is. It's like, oh, we've really been able to step in and support our community and feed people, or we've really been able to, I've loved the extra time with my family. That's been so important, right? Or it's been an opportunity to grow or create something new that I didn't have space to do before. So asking a question like that, and again, it's a very neutral question. It's not salesy at all, but it's letting that person tell you from a heart level, from a human level, what makes them feel good. And as a salesperson, if you have a solution that you can language in a way that mirrors back to them how that experience helps them feel good, why would they not take a really serious look at that? Right?
100%. That's awesome. I think Lisa froze a little bit.
The phone, how to position your solution.
There we go. Yeah, absolutely. That was awesome. So I know we got 2 minutes left. My last question for both of you. We've got a club president here and a body language expert here. So I think the reps would be very upset if I didn't ask this question. When they're presenting themselves on Zoom and they're presenting themselves on video, as a president of an organization, is literally a body language expert. And, we can start, I think Lisa will be a good closer on this one. So we'll start with Ron. What are you looking for out of your reps in the way that they're presenting themselves to you during this time?
Eye contact, genuineness, authenticness. It's a face-to-face meeting just through a screen. So the more comfortable I feel in this face-to-face environment, the better. If you're doing this and I'm talking to you like this, you don't feel too comfortable and probably don't trust the information that I'm giving to you. But when I'm sitting like this and talking to you, and again, I'm not the body language expert, but I'm sitting like this and talking to you, I think you're trusting me a lot more. You're into more of what I'm saying because I'm into more of what you're saying. So that would be my piece of tidbit of advice.
Yeah, but 100% agree with that. I think from a procedural standpoint, minimize distractions, right? Put your phone in airplane mode. Don't even put it on silent. Take your freaking watch off if you can't keep yourself from going like that every 2 seconds. Give people the gift of your attention. This is whether you're in person, but it's especially important remotely. And just show up human, right? Like, give your full range of expression. If you gesture a lot when you talk, like I do, because I'm a big fan of explanatory gestures, right? Make sure that your camera is out enough that people can get that experience, because you can tell when I lean in, when I'm interested, I'm going to lean in to my camera just like I do sitting across from you. So all of those positive cues of engagement, of interest, of warmth, like, it's super important to just use your full range of vocal power, show your warmth, if you're excited about something, show it. Don't dial yourself back or mute yourself down because you're on video. It just makes it awkward and cold. So it's just really having the confidence to show up exactly how you do across the table from somebody and give the person across from you the gift of your presence and your warmth.
And if you've got a room, kind of what Lisa's done there, I think, is is don't face the door, because that's what I'm doing right now. And that happened during this interview, and I got distracted. If you're facing away from the door, so don't do what I do. Facing away from the door, somebody will walk by or walk in and see that you're on this meeting, and they're not going to. Maybe you want to position it a little differently so they're not in the camera shot, but you don't want to be able to easily look up like that, especially if you're talking and giving a message.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Listen, I appreciate you both. I know we all got to run this morning, but that was awesome. I think the last 10 minutes of this we could have done 2 hours on. So I appreciate both of you. Hopefully we'll get everyone back together again at some point.
Subscribe to Brett's stuff. This guy's the real deal. I've learned a lot from him over the years.
I agree.
Thanks, John.
I agree.
Thanks, Lisa. That was not a paid commercial.